Welcome back to the Fanboys of Gaming Daily Podcast. My name's Justin.
I'm Michael.
And I am Gustafer. And if you cannot notice, I am not on your screen right now because technology sucks. I cannot see Michael or Justin.
His camera's the only one that doesn't work
So
right now.
your viewing pleasure, I have replaced my screen with this obligatory picture of myself so that you feel as though I am still there.
You're still here.
I'm in your
heart.
soul. I am everywhere. And I'm sorry, I'm way too tired to be joking right now. We got game betas, we got box art changing, changes to development teams, and Godzilla.
Ooh, Godzilla.
Godzilla.
God damn it, Godzilla.
Hey, language.
We're allowed to cuss, just not excessively. It's got to be in proportion.
Then is what I say here.
Well, Gears of War 4 beta is coming out 2016, and hoping I'll have an Xbox One by then, just because I've played almost all the Gears of War so far, and if it's been as good as those, I will definitely find a way to get it and play it.
I'm excited for the Gears of War, Gears 4 beta. I played Gears 3. Never played any other Gears. My Xbox One it ships on September 15th. A nice little Forza bundle. I'm excited. I'm gonna pick up Gears Remastered for sure because I never played the first one. Pick up Gears 4.
And he's going to pick up Destiny to play with me.
I don't want to talk about Destiny right now. We
You
don't
don't have to
have
talk
enough
about it.
time to
You
talk
don't
about
have
Destiny.
enough time to talk about Destiny, but I just want confirmation for the whole internet to hear you say that you are going to get Destiny for the Xbox One.
I will debate it
No,
mentally.
that's not good enough.
No guarantees. No
Worry about
promises.
your guys' little hissy fight later.
Yeah,
Talk to
we
him, Justin. Make
we
this
can
happen.
worry about my personal life later. We're talking
Gears
about
sucks. The people who made Gears said it sucks. So that's enough for me.
The
what?
people that made Gears said Destiny sucks.
Oh, sorry. It's people who made Destiny said Destiny sucks.
Oh yeah, they did say that.
What?
Yeah, one of the lead developers, he was like, the game is not what we thought the game was going to be.
And they said it was very incomplete and nowhere near as what they wanted it to be.
They wanted No Man's Sky, and instead we got like,
Call of Duty meets Halo.
yeah, like if you took Halo 1 and chopped the campaign in half, that's what we got.
With the same figures and cast from it.
Yeah, pretty
That's
much.
so sad. I like
They were upset about
Destiny.
that. They were upset about that. They were like, this did not come out the way we wanted it to, but that we're working on making it what we originally planned on doing, which I think they will, because Bungie's actually really, really good at doing those sorts of things and getting back on track. But
I can honestly say Bungie's going to be working on the new Halo.
on the new Halo, 343 is doing Halo.
Are they?
Yeah,
343
dude,
did 4.
They
Oh,
sold.
I did not know that.
And
Bungie
Master
sold
Chief.
them to that during at the end of Halo Reach's lifespan. They sold Halo to
343.
343
Or Microsoft,
Industries.
technically.
Okay.
343 is owned
Maybe
by
not then.
Microsoft.
Maybe Bungie will go work on another crappy game.
No, Bungie's stuck
Oh
with
my
Destiny.
God, you're so mean.
Bungie's stuck with Destiny for the next 10 years.
He says maybe he'll go make another crappy game.
I have hate for Destiny. I'm done with it for now.
All right. Well,
But
we're not gonna.
Dead Island 2, they recently lost their development team. Like not just part of it, but all of it. And aside from the first game being kind of a loss, I don't think we're going to be seeing a second one at all.
I think Dead Island 2 is going in the vault for now, if it ever comes out. They didn't lose the development team. The publisher decided they didn't want to work with the development team anymore, which is weird.
I mean, you see things like this happen from time to time with any artists making anything. Sometimes they're, like you said, he just didn't want to work with the development team anymore. Sometimes stuff falls through. People can't work together, or people have fundamentally different ideas about what they want, and that could be a reason that Dead Island's going in the vault.
and that's why we got Dying Light.
Yep. I believe
Because
that you told me that.
the development team went off and did their own thing, and then they made Dying Light, which is very similar to Dead Island, but it's got parkour in it, and it's pieced together a little bit better. It's not that Dead Island and Dying Light are two very, very different games. They're just they're similar, but not the same. I guess I'll just leave that one at that.
It's more complete.
Yeah, there's not like insane loading times or anything like that. I've seen a lot of gameplay of it. I want to play it. I just haven't had the chance because I keep buying these ridiculous games that take me forever to beat, like Arkham Knight. I'm working on the platinum. The platinum's coming. It's gonna be here eventually. By the end of the month.
I hope you don't get a glitch and have to start your game over all over again for the second time.
If that happens, I'd be so upset. That's why I didn't finish Origins. Because the game saved at a point where it glitched out, and then I just infinitely fell through the map and just couldn't ever play the game. And I was like, I'm done with this game.
So wait. So you're not playing the new game then?
But yeah, no, I'm playing Arkham Knight. I was just talking about previous experience with Origins.
The
last game that came out. Yeah, I like that game. I spent too much time on that game, to be fair.
Too much time to just fall through the floor and die.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you get halfway through a game and the game bugs out, and it bugs out to the point where you have to restart the entire game, I lost my interest.
Like, imagine doing that with Bloodborne. Oh my god.
No.
You-
No. I probably sunk in almost as much time in Bloodborne as I have Destiny. And I have like 300 hours in Destiny.
Oh yeah.
I've sunk an immense amount of time in Bloodborne, and the worst part is that most of that time is just because I kept dying and had no idea how to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's almost the complete and total reason why. But then again, that game is freaking brutal. There's no block. You don't block. That's stupid.
You dodge.
You dodge. There's no blocking. If you can't roll out of the way, you're dead. That's it.
Same thing with Dark Souls. But I mean,
but you have a shield.
You do have a shield.
not always.
Not always, that's true. But
Good to
Bloodborne
pick
even
your
makes
weapon.
fun of you if you try to use a shield. The shields are so shitty that they're just useless. Like, they're like, you want a shield? Here's a shield. It sucks so bad you don't even want to use it. That's how bad it is.
You got to upgrade.
No.
But anyways, Konami recently released a picture where they got rid of Kojima's name on the box art.
And his studio logo.
Yes.
They're just
Oh.
They're just grinding Kojima into the freaking ground. This is. I like hearing about news and I like hearing about this sort of stuff because I want to know what's going on. But at the same point, you're not giving me any information. You're just going, we're just farthering ourselves even more from Kojima. But we're not telling you why or what is even happening. So I feel like what's going to happen is when Metal Gear Solid 5 launches and it comes out and they get their first week sales, then they'll be like, okay, this is what's happening with Kojima.
Oh, yeah.
It's not even that. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the last game with him, no matter what.
Well, it's the last game in Metal Gear Solid that he wants to do. He doesn't even want to do anymore.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like this is his last game in this franchise.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, yeah, because he's leaving, we got some things ending like Silent Hill and Metal Gear. But I can tell you, I would love it if he would go make his own studio and like basically continue the games. Like, I know he can't continue the actual games just because of the ownership hold on them. But if he even made just that PT demo for a demo, that is the scariest game I've ever seen, and that's just a demo.
Yeah. Well, Kojima is just a brilliant game designer. He's just brilliant at the way he wants games to be. Like, he has a vision in his head, and he makes it happen regardless of whatever stands in his way, I think, because that's why all of his games end up being the way they are and being usually really, really good. So, I mean, theoretically, Konami fires him. If some other studio doesn't pick him up, hypothetically, let me put this in a hypothetical world. There's so many possibilities where he could go or where it could end up, or hell, Microsoft or Sony or maybe even Nintendo could just get to a point where they're like, we know what you do with games. We want you to keep making games. We want you to make exclusive games. Here's a bunch of money. Start a studio.
Well, I think what will happen is that he will open up another franchise of his own and continue off that. Like, he's been known to do some type of stealth, so it'll be something like that.
Or horror, like Silent Hills. He's amazing
Please,
in horror games.
please.
Horror
I do
games.
not even like horror games, but that PT demo was the scariest game I've ever played. That was absolutely brilliantly designed.
I feel if he makes something scarier than Outlast, he will be.
Well, the way Silent Hills was leading up, I was thinking it was gonna end up being a giant game, but I'm not quite sure. You know, we don't really know what's gonna happen with it or what could have happened with it. It could have been great, but we honestly won't know.
Oh no.
Well, speaking of games that are great, Japan is finally going to be releasing a Godzilla to us after a long time.
I believe it came out already. I believe it already released.
Has it?
Yes. Well, I've seen reviews up. Let me double
Well, that
check.
doesn't always mean that it came out.
Let me double check here. Because I would like to get my facts straight here and make sure that the game is coming out right. Let's see here. The game comes out. Is the game already out? I think it is. I'm trying to find out because nobody's giving me a clear fucking answer about shit. Yes. Game is out. Game is already out.
Okay, nice.
Yes, it did not get good reviews.
Oh.
So I wonder if it's going to be the
Unfortunately.
same. Wonder if it's going to be the same thing as Evolve, where it was hyped up so much that when it came out, it just died.
I don't know. When I heard they were doing a movie Godzilla game, I was not very excited.
No.
It has nothing to do with Godzilla. I was like, a Godzilla game would be awesome because they made really good Godzilla games, and but they just haven't made one that was as good as like Destroy All Monsters in a long time, in my opinion. And they just, I don't know, man. That game just, I guess, from what I've seen, is just, it's very similar to a lot of the older games we got. The styling's similar. It's just kind of run through, destroy buildings, beat up a kaiju. It's like, okay, I get it. But I guess some of the major complaints too with it were the camera angles. I guess the camera angles are like L1 R1 or left bumper right bumper instead of using the right analog stick, which doesn't really make any sense to me. I don't know why the control scheme would be about that, but I don't know. I guess what I wanted to talk about with Godzilla at least is that it's a Japanese imported game. It's a game that got domesticated for the US, and we don't get a lot of those because the game sales are horrible.
Yeah, stuff that sells there doesn't sell here. So
the sales are horrible. They're not bad
Yeah.
games. They just don't sell well here.
Well, like you posted a little bit ago, the Digimon game that you said that you've wanted. It's been out for 4 years or something like that, and it's done great over there.
Yeah, Cyber Sleuth. That game's been
Yeah.
out forever.
Digimon,
But yet it's still not over here because
Digimon doesn't
it's-
sell.
because we suck.
well, it's because
Digimon's hard.
the market over there is a completely different type from
Yeah.
over here. Just like humor over there is completely different from humor over here.
Anime.
Well, not even that. Just the complete different styles of animation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look at Adventure Time versus, like, I don't know, like Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
I mean,
The styling's way different. Or
I
Dragon Ball Super.
I feel like anime is a great example though, as to like so many things have to be toned down when they move to the United States because apparently America can't take a joke.
well, it's not that. It's just the rating system was completely different.
Yeah, a lot of anime is meant for adults, so it's got more suggestive themes and stuff like that. Whereas when we see animated things in America, we assume they're for children, which
Like,
anime
look
is
at-
not.
Like a big thing about Mickey Mouse and the first Dragon Ball came out around the same time. It was like 85 or something like that.
Mickey Mouse, like the maybe the colored animated Mickey
Yeah.
Mouse. Cause I was gonna say Mickey Mouse is pretty old, dude. He's like black
Well,
and white old.
You lose that
Yeah,
battle,
true.
man.
His Steamboat
Well, I don't
Willie.
know. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I know like that like genre of age is what right when like animation started getting huge.
Yeah. Well, while we were talking about that censorship thing, I want to talk about one of the biggest ones. In the original Pokemon theme, have you guys ever seen there's an episode where this giant tentacruel comes in and floods the city and then destroys these skyscrapers?
Yeah.
And when the episode originally was supposed to air was unfortunately after 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And they had to edit out the footage for it because they didn't want to offend anybody with this giant tentacruel destroying these towers they happened to be very close to each other. They resembled the Twin Towers. They weren't, but it resembled it to a point. So they didn't want to offend anybody, so they had to chop that out. And same thing with translations from Japanese to English. Like, just when we played Freedom Wars is dubbed. Or it's not even dubbed, it's subbed. Like, they didn't even try to...
That's an amazing game though.
It is, but they're not... There's no point in spending the amount of resources in a game that they're not... they don't know for sure if it's going to sell. Like, Digimon doesn't sell. They're good games, but they don't sell because they're the styling of the games here we perceive as children's games, but they're JRPGs.
Oh yeah.
They're not
Definitely.
simplistic games. They're some of the most complex, ridiculous games I've ever played in my life.
Like Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Like if the first ones didn't sell when they did like on the PlayStation, they would have never made them again over here.
Oh yeah.
No.
They would never have ported them over here. Ever. And same thing with Kingdom Hearts was led by that too. Because it's made by the same people. So if
But
it wasn't
it's-
for Final
That's the fact
Fantasy
it's
and
more
other
Disney
ones-
based.
Yeah, true.
Like,
they do have a
Disney
foothold
is-
here. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, Disney's based like in the US. So
That's
I mean it had a lot more impact on it because the first one is about the seven princesses
Mhm.
and Kyrie, which is cool because they actually added a new one in there.
Mhm.
And
Like an
if-
original one as opposed to.
Yeah, as compared to the second one, which has its own story. Which, I mean, yeah, the worlds are important, but they're not part of the main story.
Not as significantly as one would think. They're significant to the story, but not to the point
They're
where
not.
if you went to a different world and you put the plot from one world to another world, it wouldn't really make that much of a difference.
Yeah, it's all filler. All of that is filler.
It's yeah. I mean, you do the side. I'd consider them side missions. Like when you go to Hercules, the Colosseum, you do Hercules, like whole story, and then at the end of that, you fulfill Sora's reason to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's,
Yeah.
and it's like that. I mean, that was the main point of the game, but the newer game looks like it's gonna be a little more in depth with stuff. The story's gonna be a little bit deeper, I think.
Like one of the best things I believe about that game is that it's the fact that there's such a variety of gameplay in it is what makes it so good. Like there's shooting with the ships and that. You still have RPGs and you still have the JRP aspect of you can change your
Skill
party's
trees.
skills. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
which
important.
is really
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
They took what was good about Final Fantasy and just kind of like skimmed it down. They made it like simpler.
Well, it's like
Oh, yeah.
it's like Crisis Core, but with just 2 extra people.
Mm-hmm. I never played Crisis Core, but that's the prequel to 7, right?
It was an amazing game.
I've heard. Is that a PSP game or a Vita game?
PSP.
I might have to buy it because it'll be super cheap on the PlayStation Store. I can't imagine it being any more than like $20.
PSP.
So
Hey, you know what game trailer I saw recently?
what's that? What is it?
Five Nights at Freddy's 4.
Oh boy, another Five Nights at Freddy's.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for
I
all
don't
the
know.
YouTube videos of it.
It's
Every
not
single
the
YouTuber.
It's just the fact that like it's the same game over and over and over again.
This one, I
It
haven't
is?
looked at the trailer, but I'm hoping that they actually did something a little bit different with this one. Because they always try to do something a little bit different.
Well,
But they
yeah,
also pump
they
these
do.
games out in like 6 months.
Less than that.
Yeah, they're pumping them
One
out
thing
pretty
to make
quickly.
a note of though is that he has announced that this is the last game in Five Nights at Freddy's, like that's going to be made, which you have to respect, because so many people think that just because one of their games is successful that they should make a huge long chain of them. Like by the time we got to Five Nights at Freddy's like 8, we would be over it by now. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not dragging on that franchise. This is going to be the last one, and then he's ending it.
I'm trying to think of where I heard this, but I heard this, and it's a great quote, is these people were talking about franchises that have been pulled out and long and strung out. And the way they had worded this was that when you want to finish, their opinion was that when you finish a game series, you should finish it on, man, I really wish there was another game coming out, instead of, man, I'm so glad these games are done.
Right.
Mhm.
You want to leave it on that, wow, that game was awesome.
Like,
I wish there was
the-
more, but I know there won't be.
This is an older game, but the one game I'm still really waiting for a sequel is Shadow of the Colossus. I don't
Shadow
know
of
if-
the Colossus was a good game.
Like, it's just the fact that that was still so amazing of a game. Like, I know there is a sequel to it, but I want like a newer,
Is it
like,
a sequel or a spiritual successor?
kind of like a spiritual successor.
Okay. I
But-
didn't know. I was just
But
curious.
I want it to be ported to the PS4. Like, I can honestly say it literally was one of the best games for the PS2.
The PS2 had a great, vast library of games. That's a bold statement.
Oh yeah.
It was one of the best games for the PS2.
Then again, the PS2 had a bunch of really shitty games that we don't want to talk about. That generation had a bunch of shitty games because they were just pumping out games left and right. If you ever go into a used game store and look at the PS2, the Xbox, and the GameCube library, they're freaking ginormous.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Like, there's an insane amount of games for those consoles,
it
and
might.
half of them are like really shitty.
Are horrible.
Yeah, they're just terrible.
It might. Remember the iToy?
But we don't talk about the iToy.
But basically, one of the new aspects to this game is like it. From the trailer, it's not in a restaurant. It's not in a Five Nights at
Really?
Freddy's joint. Yeah. From the point that I got from it is the quotes are, "What did you bring home?" And that leads me to believe after the third one, it says that after the place burnt down, they sold all of the stuff in like an open auction.
Oh God!
And
Somebody
so I
bought
have
Freddy and put him in like their mansion or something.
in like their home. So
It
this
has to be a
kid's
mansion though.
this
Glass
kid's
case.
looking out of his bedroom
Apartment.
door, and what does he see? He sees frickin' Bonnie, the most detailed robot rabbit I have seen, with sharp, bloody teeth. And man, that thing is creepy.
Yeah, that thing is terrifying.
That thing is absolutely.
The only thing more
terrifying.
terrifying than that one is Foxy,
Mm-hmm.
because he just screams this blood-curdling scream.
I'm sorry, but Foxy was definitely the creepiest one of them, just for the fact that they say that one kid or one person got their head bit to the point where they lost some of their brain.
Oh Jesus!
And everyone assumes it's Foxy because Foxy's jaw is detached.
Mm-hmm.
What else do they have? Foxy in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Have you ever seen his jump scare in Five Nights at Freddy's 2?
I'd have to go back and watch it.
He leaps through the window
Yeah.
at you. Like, you have a flashlight that you stare through the window with. He leaps through the window, like from a distance. It's terrifying.
You know what's actually even more terrifying than that?
Hmm.
Somebody made Five Nights at Freddy for the Oculus.
Mm-hmm.
What?
That is the most horrible idea anyone has ever come up with. That is gotta be. I was watching somebody play it. Actually, it was PewDiePie that was playing it, and it's funny because his enthusiasm for that series was just kind of like, whatever. But he played it with the Oculus, and he's like, "This game is terrifying."
I mean,
Like
Well, I
the
believe it.
Oculus makes everything terrifying because it seems so real. Like, it's not even that the graphics are amazing on it, because they're all right, but the fact that it immerses you in that
Oh,
full
yeah.
field of vision
You know what
Right.
else
is what
immerses you?
messes you up.
Google Cardboard.
Google Cardboard. You know what's not gonna immerse me as a Sony fan? Morpheus.
Oh, yeah.
I could care about
Yeah.
anything less than Morpheus. I do not care about Morpheus. It might sell. It might be really good. It might have some really good games. I might be completely wrong, but I just don't like it personally. I'm not gonna buy it because it's probably gonna be like $400.
Yeah, and all of them are. I mean, Oculus is expensive as it is. Like, it started out like $1,000, and it starts to go down as they try to make it more consumer friendly.
Well, they're polishing it up, and Facebook bought them out, so that helps a lot. Because Facebook
Yeah,
has a
very
lot of
true.
resources, so they're willing to bite the dust a little bit on, bite the bullet on it a little bit.
I would love to understand why Facebook bought Oculus.
Because Facebook likes to make money, and the
Well, not
Oculus
only
is
that-
going to sell a lot.
That's the bigger point, yeah.
It's going to sell a shit ton, even if it's horrible and the games are really bad, which I doubt. Because I've seen a lot of Oculus games. I've seen a lot of people play the developer edition of the Oculus, which is like the first edition that ever came out of it, and it plays in a way. It's one of the VRs that actually like works when the
Well, not
developers
that.
make the game right.
It's just that there's so much add-ons to the Oculus that's coming out. Like, not only does it have the virtual reality goggles, but there's also attachment you can put on the front of it, which cinches your hands and
Yeah.
puts them in the game as well.
Yeah, there are
Like-
some really cool
Wait,
applications for that.
does what to your hands?
It senses your hands. It's like a Wii remote, but for your hands. It senses
Well,
your
it's
hands
more like
and uses
Kinect.
your hands. Yeah.
Like, it's pretty much a relative positioning camera that senses where your hands are to the field of vision it has, and will make your hand in 3D on the screen. So, like, you'll be able to pick something up in the actual game while like using your actual hand as the controller.
Well, man, that seems like it's going to be really successful technology.
It's a really good idea, but it's one of those things like we've talked about before with the Kinect and the Wii remote and all these other things. It's technology people don't know how to use yet. Use to their full advantage.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's the fact that it's ahead of its time to the point that it's
And-
more expensive to own
Yeah.
than it's worth. Give it like another 3 or 4 years, and it'll be under the price of a normal phone. And
If I could purchase, hypothetically, if I were to be able to purchase an Oculus Rift and like that sensor for your hands for under like $600, I'd totally be in. I'd be completely in. I'd be like, yeah, you sold me. I'll buy it. I don't even care if the games suck. I'll buy it. That'd be sweet.
Mhm.
Because then you get the VR experience, and you get the motion sensor kind of experience, but you get it on a PC too, which means that the big difference between PC and PS and PlayStation and Xbox and Nintendo and all these things is there's way less things people have to do for PC. Most people can, honestly, if you make a game, you can just put it out on any website, and it'll
eventually get found.
Yeah,
And
it'll
if
get
it's
picked
good,
up
If
by
it's good, it'll
somebody.
get picked up real quick.
Yeah, there's no certification process, so there's just way more stuff you can get out to, way more games you can pick up for it, but that also means you have to sift through a lot of shitty games.
but it's also the fact of you're going to be paying more for your computer, not only having to run decent graphics, but also needing the extra RAM or processing power to be able to record and publish at the same time.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because when you make games for the PlayStation or Xbox, the games are already optimized to
Yeah.
use the best that the console can offer. As opposed to a computer game, you gotta factor in what available RAM you have and
Well,
how other programs are running, or is it going to affect your gameplay and the
people that have
pixel quality.
to be fair, people that are really into PC gaming, they usually splurge and they go out and they buy a really good computer, and those computers run very well, and they run I've seen a lot of people that use the Oculus and it runs smooth.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody use the Oculus and have it crash.
Well, it's
Yeah,
because
but
the Oculus is more of a monitor than it is its own console, or
Well,
Yeah.
like it's not like it's killing the RAM off your computer. It's actually like using the monitor.
yeah. Well, my question is, I know a decent amount about the Oculus, like its purpose and all this other stuff, but I don't know the specs of it. Does it have like its own RAM and all that kind of stuff?
I'm not entirely
Uh,
sure. I've seen a bunch of videos on it, more on like the hardware of it, less of the specs.
Yeah, I don't.
So I
I've never really looked into the specs of it. I know exactly what it does, how it works, and all the other stuff you can do with it, but I've never seen, like, I've never actually looked to see what the actual specs are. You know what is hilarious though? I watched a bunch of there was a video about old people using the Oculus Rift.
hmm
That was fantastic. That was great.
hmm
Because they were so mind blown by this technology, because they did do one horror game which I felt bad because somebody could have died, honestly.
Mhm.
These people are elderly people.
Not
You
all
can't.
old people are gonna die from a heart attack, Mike.
No, but they're all elder. They should not have to go through that distress, especially when you don't warn them beforehand. That's not cool. But they put them through these like scenic things where they were like on a beach or in a beach house, and they did one where they were going through a roller coaster ride,
hmm
and then they did the haunted house one at the end. And that was kind of weird because it was weird watching old people get really scared. I've never seen an old person get scared.
Really?
No, it was interesting. I was like, this is weird. I was like, this is what old people look like when they get scared. They look like normal people, just a little bit older.
One thing that amazes me that I just learned about a little bit ago is that you can make YouTube go 3D if you want.
What?
Yeah, well, that's because they have 3D TVs now. I think does YouTube have 4K support yet, or is it getting 4K
Yeah,
support?
they've had 4K support for a
That's what I
while.
thought. Because there's 4K is already like, and people have it, and they're already talking about what are we gonna do after 4K. They're already working on that. At this
Well-
point, I'm like, my PlayStation 4 and when my Xbox One gets here, I think the Xbox One runs at 4K, but I don't have a 4K TV, so it don't matter to me.
Well, Mike, if you want to know, the new MacBook Pro monitor is actually at 5K.
Is that 5K?
With the Thunderbolt display?
No, no, no. The actual like
The actual display is for 5K.
yeah.
Oh, good
Oh,
for them.
wow.
Stepping it up. That's how you do it.
That is how you do
That's
it.
how you really piss off your competitors.
Well, it's not that. Like you want your stuff that you buy to be future proof. You don't go out and buy a Xbox 360 like now and expect to be able to play games for the next 3 years.
Hey, I want to hear that. I went out and bought a PS2 like last year. Why? Because I love the
PS2 is
PS2.
different.
But here's the
PS
thing though, you don't expect to get brand new games.
I'm about to get that new FIFA game. FIFA 14.
Mike's just fighting you on this, Justin. Just let him win this. Just let him have this one.
I just like talking.
Well, if it makes it feel better, the last Dreamcast game that was made in 2013.
Oh yeah, what was it called?
But Dreamcast, it was like an
was
open
that
source kind
Puyo
of thing.
Pop Fever?
Mhm.
I heard about that.
Yeah, well, it's because people are still making games for it because it's one of the easiest consoles to make games because it uses just basic CDs. If you have a CDR disc that has 800 megabytes, I believe, you can put your own game on it and play it on there. Like I've played SNES games on the Dreamcast.
That's unfortunately why the Dreamcast didn't do very well.
Yeah, dude, the Dreamcast had some horrible piracy problems.
That is the reason why the Dreamcast didn't do well.
yeah.
It was a really good console. It just
It
didn't do
was,
well
it
because
was
they
really
couldn't
ahead of its
protect it.
time.
No,
It was
was
the PS2 before the PS2.
it was
Yeah.
Rattergy. That was the new game that came out in 2013 for the
Mhm.
Dreamcast. It was called Rattergy, and they were like selling refurbished consoles.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
They just don't want the Dreamcast to die.
Yeah, I got mine refurbished from a flea market.
Oh, it's dead. They're just poking a dead body with a stick now.
No, they're just trying to rejuvenate it a little bit. They're like, we'll give you another game. It's like the PS2 getting that FIFA 14. Why? Doesn't need it.
PS2, I mean, that's the best-selling video game console of all time.
And
It
rightfully
didn't-
so.
Rightfully so, exactly. And it doesn't surprise me that. I mean, I didn't know its lifespan was going to be that long.
No,
I
they,
didn't know
Well,
that it was going to survive all the way to the PS4.
yeah,
well, it's just the fact that like it's not the graphics that are the best. It's the fact that there was so much stuff for it that they're like, well, we're gonna remake it again, and it sold even better than before.
they remodeled the console, and then after they remodeled the console, the reason why the PS2 was successful is because of the games. They had awesome games, and they came out with really good games. They came out with, what did they have? They had Crash. No,
They
not
had
Crash. They had
They
Crash,
had
but Crash
they had
came out
Medal
on-
of Honor, which was one of the best franchises I
Yeah.
think on that game. They had God of War,
Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and
Jack
Clank.
and Dexter,
Ratchet
yep,
and
both of
Clank.
those. They
I
had
love
Kingdom
Ratchet.
Hearts 1 and 2.
Yeah,
Oh,
Kingdom
yeah.
Hearts 1 and 2
They had a bunch of Final Fantasy games.
for a while, and then for some reason gave up the exclusivity
hmm
for it. I don't know why they ever made that decision. It was a dumb decision.
They had Time Crisis, if you remember that game. It was
I don't
amazing.
remember that game.
I
Especially
remember
since
hearing about it, but I never actually played it.
Yeah,
I've
neither
seen
did
it
I.
800
it was actually
times.
sold with the arcade guns,
That's
which was
awesome.
really cool. I don't think I've ever seen that since the original NES.
Yeah, they did have the
Talking
blaster.
about
Well, the
Duck
Wii
Hunt?
had one too, but that was after.
Like Guitar Hero and Rock Band, but that wasn't just PS2.
No, that
But
was everything. But that was helpful to the generation.
on top of all the sports games and that. But like I said, that was all consoles.
Well, the reason why those consoles did so good was because it was the first time we got like we got polygons. We got like 3D games when we
Mhm.
got the 64 and the PlayStation 1. And then we got more detailed games that were a little more polished. Like instead of getting like Mario's octagonal head on the 64, we got a sphere. Like we got like refined
Yeah.
polygons. I mean, the graphics weren't great. Like the detail wasn't great, but nobody cared about that. We didn't
But
give a shit
it's-
about that. We
I
just
mean, it
wanted
was
to
the
play a good
gameplay.
game. We
I
cared
mean,
about
when I
gameplay and
first
story.
when I first saw God of War, I was like, "Holy shit, this
Yeah.
is so realistic." And
Yeah.
then I
I
plugged
went
in
back
my
and played it, and it's fucking horrible. The graphics are so bad.
Mhm. And, like here's the thing though, Mike. I can't play PS2 on any HD TV. I literally have to go to a tube TV because it looks so much better.
I actually use the weird like 6-cord setup.
They have that for the PS2?
Yeah, this PS2 has the weird 6-core extender. You got to go buy it,
Oh yeah. No.
but that cost me like $4.
Yeah, I'm sticking with
Everything
my
costs money in this
AVI
world.
cable.
I like it. I think it actually makes the games look a lot better.
Well, the problem is like it's just everything's so pixelated.
Yeah. that's true.
Especially with the HD TVs, you can see it so clear.
Oh yeah. You know what's the worst part? You know those how I was talking about those 6 chords. I can't remember the name of them because there's 2 red, a green, and a blue, and I just don't know what the fuck's going on half the time with those. When I got my 360, the original white 360, the one that was bulky as hell.
Mhm.
I remember that. I had
got-
those too.
Yeah, I got it right after the Red Ring of Death recall, and I unboxed it and I looked in there and I saw that cord and I looked at it and I was the most confused I've ever been with any video game system ever. I was like, what the fuck is this? I was like,
Mhm.
what do I do with this?
Wait,
'Cause
what did you see?
It's a 6
Component.
Yeah, it's a 6 component instead of the 3. Instead of the RYB, or is it RYB?
Yeah.
And then there's GRRYB or something like that. It's like the
Yeah,
one that has
there's-
6 chords.
Well, it's because it uses the different color spectrums. in
Yeah.
that.
But then they went and got smart and went to HDMI
Way of
'Cause-
the future.
because
It was sick.
HDMI is so much better.
well, not only that, it's because PlayStation 3 was built with it.
Well, yeah,
But,
but the
I mean, it
PS3
doesn't-
came out later.
yeah.
They had
Well, I mean,
they had a chance
well, it's
to
because
fix it.
the PS2 was still going strong.
They're like, we don't need a new console yet. We'll take our time and then we'll release the PSP and see how people feel about it. And then if
Which-
they like it, we'll put it on our new console.
I love the PSP. I still play mine every now and then just because I
hate
had
the cross media bar.
Yeah, true.
I'm a Sony fan, but I hate the cross media bar. I hate it so much. I don't like the PS3 cross media bar. I don't like the PSP bar. I don't like the Vita software.
Still
And
better than bubbles. I'd rather have that than the bubbles.
I only kind of like the PS4 software. I don't even really like it that much.
Does anyone remember
It's
the
clunky.
original Xbox 360 like tile software?
Yeah, how
Yeah,
it was
scroll
like,
left and right. It looked
Yeah.
like it actually looked like the console. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it like
yeah.
you would go down.
It was like a
you-
spin wheel, right?
Yeah, it'd be a spin wheel, and
Yeah.
then when you and then everything was like in a row. Once you got to one icon in the spin wheel, you would like have a whole mess of options and stuff to do.
Mhm. I think that's kind of how where PS4 got their software ideas.
Yeah, I mean,
Because and the PS3, the cross media bar was kind of like that too, but it was shittier. Didn't
Yeah.
work.
oh my goodness, we've been talking for a while.
Maybe people will really like this one. I hope so.
We
We've been
can
talking
hope
about a
so.
lot of random crap that didn't have anything to do with each other, but we're having fun.
Oh yeah, it's always fun here
It's a good time.
when people's internet works and when people's camera feed works, but not me.
Sorry, Chris.
I mean, if
Not
it makes
my
you feel
camera
any
feed.
better, Justin's camera froze up like a half an hour ago. I just didn't say anything.
Did it? That's
Yeah.
kind of funny.
Justin, Justin, what did you just type?
Nothing. Don't worry about it.
Vulgarity. He typed
is-
vulgarity.
That is vulgar.
We don't say those kinds of words here. Get that
I
shit out of
am
here.
offended, and he didn't say it. He typed it.
He didn't even say it. He just typed it out. That's even worse. Because that I had to read it.
That's the point of it.
Oh, man. This is a long episode, but I ain't complaining. It was a good episode. I think we're doing well.
I am going to respond in kind. Take that.
This chat is getting very, very promiscuous.
Are we 5-year-olds?
Yes.
Like,
Yes, we are.
This shouldn't be funny.
Well, thank you for joining us today. I'm Justin.
I'm Michael.